Hey, we're here in Las Vegas with Kevin Gutierrez. He produced the new record from A Sound of Thunder, Tales from the Deadside. So we have a few questions for Kevin regarding this Kickstarter clip. But before we start, I want to know your thoughts on Kickstarter in general.
Yeah, Kickstarter in general, I think it's amazing because the bands can go directly to their fan base. The fan base is the record company now, and I also think it's kind of interesting because it's one of the first times that the bands have been able to circumvent illegal downloading and go straight to their fan base. You can't pirate something that doesn't exist yet, right? So the bands are saying we're going to do this record, especially if it's a band that people know about already. Megadeth is doing a Kickstarter part. I think they're on Pledge. I think that's correct. Queensryche is doing one. Raven just finished doing a Kickstarter. So it's lost its stigma of saying, hey, there's no record company. When Megadeth, one of the big four in metal, is doing a crowdfunding record, you know that's what's here and now. So I like it for that reason. And I know this is going on the Kickstarter page, so being a Kickstarter supporter myself, Burning Bands, whatever this number is, if you're on your phone, or whatever that number is on your computer, whatever those numbers are. Josh posted a very ballsy Facebook post with the actual budget for this record, which we were in just under $50,000 when it was all said and done. So for an indie band to move from these budgets to starting to be, a substantial budget, it's cool that they're giving that right to their fans, and you can see that they put a $10,000 reward, $10,000 mark of what they were looking for. That doesn't even come close. So I would just say to people, whatever these numbers are up here, keep contributing, because the real numbers at their end is they are taking the budget straight from their pockets.
So I know you worked with Sound of Thunder before. Like, this is your third or fourth record?
Well, actually, this is fourth, and there's a fifth, believe it or not.
So what makes this one different from the other ones, Tales from the Deadside?
This record. This record's different because the band is telling the story of SHADOWMAN. Most records you do, or every record you do, really, you're trying to make each song cool. This one is trying to make the whole record be the story of SHADOWMAN. So it's a different record in that capacity. It runs continuous for an hour. We've made the decision to run it that way, that it was going to be as soon as you put on your headphones or you're putting in your stereo, that it runs the whole way through and just tells a story more like a rock opera. That's the whole record.
So how was that hard recording it? Tell me how that was when you were recording it. Did you have to keep that in mind, that it was continuous?
Oh, yes, from a very early point in the record. I'm not even sure where it came from. There, I was talking to Josh and Chris and Jesse, that I said, well, look, we've already done 3 records to get together. We've done Out of the Darkness, we've done Time's Era, which was I think that was where they really came into their own. Lesser Key of Solomon, which was an epic record. So how are we going to make this record different? We're in 4 records in 4 years. We're in a Black Sabbath schedule. We joke we were trying to get 7 records done in 6 years. Like what's happened from 70 to 76 or 77. So yeah, that would, at least I feel like that was a challenge, running it continuous. There's no breaks. We spent about a week and a half on the transitions. We decided very early on that we needed a narrator, because each song would be set up so that you could understand what the song was about. I'll give you an example. Punk Mambo, we recorded fairly early on, I think, and it starts, give me a skull, stuff in the glue. What's that mean? We did the whole song and we're done. We had tracked the whole song, and I went to the band. I'm like, what are you talking about? And Josh says, he's like, oh, that's about the the Shadow Man character is trying to get rid of the Shadow Loa, which lives inside of him, and he goes into the woods, and he meets the Punk Mambo, who's this voodoo priestess, and the voodoo priestess sniffs this stuff out of a skull, and they go into this other world, and I go, well, damn, now that you explain it to me, like, now I understand it. But it's incredibly complex even to set up one song. So I said, listen, sometimes Josh or Nina or Jesse or Chris would spend 5 minutes explaining to me what the song was about. And I say, listen, we might have 5 seconds, 7 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds on the record to explain it to the listener. So we spent a lot of time on these transitions. We literally spent a week and a half on transitions. So that's that was something that was a challenge. I think the band did it.
So I'm sure everyone at Kickstarter wants to know, what's it like working with each member in A Sound of Thunder?
Oh gosh. Pour me another whiskey and do we have another 12 minutes? I think we just took it, 5 minutes. We're going to be 15 minutes here now. Well, the band comes in. We start with Chris. Chris is, he's incredibly focused. He's high energy. You put coffee in him, he's bouncing off the walls. He's running around like Beavis and Butthead. But he's a great workhorse in the studio. He probably has the hardest job out of the band because the least is done. Maybe there's a scratch guitar down, and then he'll have to record that. Nobody really knows what the form is going to be, so he's setting a lot of the forms. We're deciding what the beats are going to be, although the songs are done. I don't help the band write anything. The band does that. It's one of the things that's fun as a producer, that the band has their songs done. I'm not writing parts for them. Their songs are done.
No dirt on Chris?
What's that?
No dirt on Chris?
What's some dirt on Chris? I hope Chris is be okay with what he's saying this to me. He can turn on and off his multiple sides. Like, hey, what are you? So what are you? Johnny Hammersticks, back in the TV? Like, who are you? So yeah, I'm just trying to think of what was some dirt on Chris. I think the most dirt on Chris is that he just bounces off the walls, and he's really hard on himself in the studio. He'll be like, he's got Tourette's syndrome. After shit. So we laugh because I'm in the studio. He's like, fucking, I hate myself. That part was wrong. And I'm like, Chris, nobody's in the studio is sweating you. So Chris is fun that way. After the drums are done, I'll probably talk the least about Jesse because he works the quickest. So sorry, Jesse. It's just the most fun because the bass lines make the songs huge. I mean, he's a terror. I think the bass tracks for this whole record were done in 2 days or 3 days. And he works incredibly fast. Each song's about an hour. So if we're in,
yeah, I heard he's pretty amazing bass.
Yeah, he's killer. I mean, he comes in, he knows his parts, he plays. I wish I could say more about him, but he's in. Kills it and it's done. Working with Josh is killer because I think we worked the longest in the studio together. He's an incredible guitar player, and he's really was like the co-producer of this record. He was probably the one guy on this record that knew the overarching storyline. I didn't on this record. That was hard as a producer. He knew the story of SHADOWMAN. He knew where each song was going to go. He had a clear vision of where it was going to go. And I felt like it was my job to help bring that to life. But it was his vision. And so that's a little different. Usually as a producer, I'm trying to help the band have a vision. He had the vision this time. He's incredibly focused. Sometimes I would, we'd be in literally 30, 35 takes for a solo piece. Do that again, do it again, do it again, do it again. That's not the one. Is that the one? No, that's not the one. Let's try it again. Listening, I got my headphones on. He's never bothered. Somebody, running takes. Sometimes he would have parts written out, and I would say, that feels stiff. Let's just rip a solo. Needs energy, and he would do it. I mean, the guy is insane. Almost all of the vocal arrangements on this record, 80-90% of them are his and Nina's, as opposed to me hammering out stuff on keyboards.
What about Nina?
Yeah, Nina is a workhorse because she's got her cell phone in the studio, and I laugh because she'll sit there and she's literally doing a text. I can keep her in the vocal booth sometimes 3, 4, 5 hours in a row, and she stays focused and she's texting and Facebooking and posting something, and then I'll be like, all right, ready to go, and she'll fucking tear it up. I wish people could see that in the studio. I mean, it is kind of funny because she's there, and sometimes she doesn't even have her phone out of her hand back on the music stand, and she's singing the line which makes the record. Sometimes on the record, I can only work her for an hour, hour and a half. She's singing parts that are so intense, like Tower of Souls. It's just so, I mean, she's screaming her full head off. I mean, she sounds like Dio meets Dickinson. She sounds fucking amazing, but when she's singing with that intensity, you can only go for so long. So I can only work for about 45 minutes or an hour, and that's still a long time for a singer to be singing continuous. And then her voice is shredded. But whether it be working for 4 or 5 hours in a row, and she's checking Facebook and setting her phone down, she stays focused. And then sometimes it's just, we need the takes. She does it. So the band, I mean, they're killing.
Yeah, so you were saying this record's been done for a while, and so on your way to Vegas, you said you listened to it. So what would you tell a new listener of Sound of Thunder?
I would say this is a challenging record. I'm not even sure if this is the record they should start with. That's strange for a producer to say. But this is the story of SHADOWMAN. And I think that, to me as a listener, I mean, I produced the record, but I can honestly say this, as a listener, like you said, I listened to this record for the first time, top to bottom, on the way out here flying to Vegas. And it had been maybe 2 weeks, three solid weeks. So I even had a different perspective. As soon as I put on my headphones and I closed my eyes, I felt like I was transported into the world of SHADOWMAN. The story is very complex, so I would tell a new listener, listen to the story, and I think that there's enough here that it was accomplished that they tell the story of SHADOWMAN. The story of SHADOWMAN is a 20-year story. How do you do that in an hour? I think the answer is you don't. So you tell the story clear enough, it sounds amazing, but to tell all the details, I think that the band accomplished enough. I think we as a team accomplished enough that the listener can listen top to bottom, and then can also go to the story, and there's still more there. So a new listener, I would say, gosh, songs 1 and 2 almost feel like the setup. This is a rock opera record. This is a concept record. We went back and listened to the classics, I suppose, Operation Mindcrime, maybe Crimson Idol, maybe even Ziltoid, for it's all that's comedic. But those work as far as concept records, top to bottom. As a producer, I was listening to things that I liked about those records, and I was definitely listening to things I did not like about those records. And we talked extensively about those. So for the new fan, I would say, listen to this, give it the listen top to bottom, and enjoy it and be immersed in it. And then also listen to the other records. Also to the new fan, I would say, contribute to whatever those numbers are as it gets posted, and enjoy it. And I think it's a great record. I know the record inside and out as a producer, but also when I step away from it, I don't say this about every record. I really like this record. I think it's a great record.